Namaste, everyone. Hello. Although, yes, the one today will be more of a dismal kind, talking about death. So not so much life affirming. Yet this is the mood I'm in, and I somehow felt the pull to recite a poem, to read a poem about death, basically. It's also always easier to read someone else's poem. Um, I am. I'm not sure. I haven't slept again. It's crazy. I am a bit, well, in a really strange state. So I'm not so sure I am ready to attempt some of my own stuff. Maybe I will, but I can definitely go for one of my favorite poems. So remember, I'm a very picky guy, right? I'm not exactly the poetry guy, so there are only a few pieces here and there which I cherish. I definitely admire them to the level where I return to them over and over and over again, right? And this is one of them. It's a poem called I Have a Rendezvous with Death by Alan Seeger, Seeger, an officer in the British fighting force, if I'm not mistaken, killed in action on the Somme front in 1916. Again, if I'm not mistaken, was in the Battle of the Somme, which is by itself, I mean, a different topic. Perhaps we can talk a little bit about Battle of the Somme. I'm fascinated by it. It's a yeah. It's I'm at a loss to come up with the words about it. But anyway, so yeah, the dude was there. So yeah, being at the Battle of the Somme, it did mean something. So yes, and then the poem was published posthumously in 1917. Uh, bear with me, like I said, it's not cheerful at all. Um, it's just that, yes, many people have died in the current conflict, current war in Ukraine on all sides, civilians and military alike. So may God keep them all and forgive them all if He has it in Him, which I think He does. So we do remember one of the first similar tragedies which befell the modern world or Europe, which was then, I guess, and still to some degree associated with, yeah, the modern world. We do remember that. So we do remember that. Alan Seeger, I have a rendezvous with death. I have a rendezvous with death at some disputed barricade when spring comes back with rustling shade and apple blossoms fill the air. I, I have a rendezvous with death when spring brings back blue days and fair. It may be he shall take my hand and lead me into his dark land and close my eyes and quench my breath. It may be I shall pass him still. Oh, I rendezvous with death on some scarred slope of better hill when spring comes round again this year and the first meadow flowers appear. God knows they're better to be deep, pillowed in silk and scented down, where love throbs out in blissful sleep, pulse nigh to pulse and breast to breast, where hushed awakenings are dear. But I've a rendezvous with death. At midnight, in some flaming town, when spring trips north again this year. And I, to my pledged word, am true. I shall not fail that rendezvous. A gentleman, right? True to his word. He didn't fail his rendezvous. Unfortunately, in reality, he did not, right? He met his death. He met his death. It's just a few remarks before I close. It's interesting that it seems that he refers to death as masculine. It may be he shall take my hand and lead me into his dark land. If I interpret this correctly, he actually refers to death, right? It may be I shall pass him still. There's still hope of maybe getting through this somehow. So I don't know actually. I always somehow saw that in English it's also feminine, death. But in Slavic tradition, Ukrainian, Russian, death is usually feminine. It's a she. It's a she. And towards the end, I suppose he not reminisces, but imagines a bit to the married life or having a partner or something like this. But yeah, that would be cool, he says. But well, I have a rendezvous with death, so yeah, it's just purely theoretical. And since I'm such a gentleman, I'm gonna stick to my schedule and I'm gonna meet that rendezvous. A Rendezvous with Death by Alan Segeers, 1917. One of the great poems coming from the participants and witnesses of the Great War. Remember them, remember all of those suffering and dying right now. God bless.